So this is kind of just an impromptu record. So this is basically just like a reevaluation of Chapter 3 in particular. XS, after I completed the map, asked me a couple questions as far as like the AI manipulation of sorts.
I can fight.
In particular with getting the Astra Storm within turn 2 right here. So the thing that I told him was originally, I thought the issue was that this particular lance fighter in Alear would be part of the problem. So to give you an idea why this is being asked, is that if you remember what I did in the playthrough, I did something similar like this on the right-hand side. But on the left-hand side, what I didn't do was that I didn't move Alear up all the way. So there's a couple things I want to talk about here, and the reason that I didn't do it. Originally, part of the problem was that the AI was just kind of going haywire, but I think it was also because I did it from here. However, also the thing to keep in mind is, when this particular phase goes through, I think there has to be an evaded hit within the process somewhere. Basically, it's very dicey as far as what happens. So if everything here hits correctly, that's the risk that potentially happens.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
That said, let's go ahead and redo this map. And let's see what happens if we get the RNs to where there's at least one dodge. Thing is like the chance of death is not significantly high, but it is technically relevant. And that's part of the problem here. So, let's see if we can replicate that once more. So we'll just move Clanne over here as well. I'm still going to do everything here proper with Vander and whatnot, just in case, like, not attacking suddenly changes the AI. So this first hit, whether it hits or not, doesn't really matter too much. It's everything that happens on the enemy phase, and this is because Marth with a dragon will heal after an attack. So as you can see here, I was able to at least evade one attack. And that's all I need to do in order to survive this. Now, normally, this particular Lance Fighter would not be chipped by Alear. There is a chance that the Lance Fighter does hit Alear. We're still going to show what happens, at least in this particular scenario, just so that you can understand why I was also wary on going further with it. So once this cutscene is finished loading, so Etie on this side here works the exact same way. There's nothing that's different here. And unfortunately, Clanne cannot KO these particular Pegasi. He also has to be ready to basically intercept this Armor Knight here, which means he has to land right here, which is 1, 2, 3. And luckily, with Alear right here, that happens. Now, if you notice, Clanne does 12 damage to this particular soldier, or Lance Fighter. This is so long as Alear is nearby. So I'm going to move Fram here, just so that we have a heal. And instead, I'm just going to move Clanne as if I attacked. Now the problem is that with the 12 damage, it doesn't add up all the way for Alfred to finish it off. So 12 plus 11 would be 23 out of the 26 HP. Unfortunately, Boucheron cannot reach either. So the solution to this would be that you would have to do something like Etie here. And then just making sure that Etie doesn't get ganged up by these particular Pegasi. Boucheron should be able to tank a hit here either way. So we could just put him right here, and then we could put Alfred right here. Then, if we do the Lodestar Rush here, the results should be roughly the same as with turn 2. There might be some slight tweaks, but we'll go ahead and see what happens. That break there doesn't matter too much, of course. Vander does what he normally needs to do in this turn, so that's important. And then everything from the top should start moving. Yeah, so the issue here is that Clanne gets attacked, which is part of the problem here. That would be if I didn't move him one tile up. That said, if I did move him one tile up, What should happen here is that this particular soldier, I believe, or this Lance Flyer, should go after Boucheron, and then Boucheron should be able to finish it off. So, on the turn 3, what you would do is just clear what you can here, and then the issue is of course just making sure that you can survive here. But the configuration otherwise, as you can see, is roughly the same. Just attack here, have Clanne do what he needs to do, have Vander do what he needs to do. The issue is that Alear cannot reach this boss. They would stop one tile short. So this is just mostly like an impromptu talk about, but this is basically an alternative that you can do. The advantage is that you could potentially get more EXP on Alear, and that is technically important. The downside is that there's a few things you have to tweak around, and there's some RNG that you have to take into account just because Alear has to at least evade one of those attacks. That said, so long as you can evade one of those attacks, you should be okay. The only thing that gets really sketchy is that if you get really dangerously low on HP, the issue is that Fram only heals 12 health each turn. So you just have to kind of be careful on that. This Javelin Lance Flyer shouldn't be doing a ton of damage, but 7 damage is still enough to kind of like screw around with things. Anyway, this is Colonel M. This is just basically, like I said, an impromptu talk about Chapter 3.